Worried about your drinking? Reserve your place on today's free Quit Drinking webinar and get a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for turning up. www.stopdrinkingexpert.com. Hey, how you doing? This is Craig Bank from stopdrinkingexpert.com. Welcome into another edition of the Happy Sober Podcast. Today it's an interesting one. How can you drink less alcohol? Is there a way to do it? Well, apparently there is. That's what we're talking about today. Now, first of all, if you're worried about your drinking, then you need to do something. I can't tell you how many people sit waiting for something to happen before they take action. They almost think like, yeah, I'm worried about liver failure. I'm worried about losing my family. I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. And when I get the first hint of that coming along, then I'll do something. But it doesn't work like that. Alcohol will just blindside you one day. And you'll think, I wish I'd done something sooner. So don't be in that camp. And it is a big camp. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, and secure your place on the next free Quit Drinking webinar. Now, why am I talking about how do you drink less alcohol? If you're familiar with my work, you'll know that I have repeatedly rallied against the concept of drinking in moderation. So why am I talking about it today? Well, I had a great email from Adam. And he says, hi, Craig. I've been following you for a while now, and I completely understand your program and why it works. I found a guy in the UK named Adrian Childs. He has a documentary called Drinkers Like Me on YouTube, which is about the average problem drinker that you talk about in your videos. He typically drank every day of the week except Thursdays, but would still drink around 100 units of alcohol a week. He has written a book now called The Good Drinker: How I Learned to Love Drinking Less. He essentially has made the point that if you only drink 1 to 2 drinks, you reap the benefits of getting the desired inebriated feeling without the negative hangover result, essentially stating that the less you drink, the better you feel, as generally after the first 2 or 3 drinks, it's only downhill from there. All right. Yeah. Okay, fine. I know this drinking in moderation isn't an option as per your book, as it becomes a living hell trying to control it every day and for the rest of your life. I was wondering if you have an opinion on his method and if you think he's an outlier to the system and an isolated case. Best regards, Adam. All right. Interesting. So first of all, who is Adrian Childs? I'm from the UK, as you know, and I used to work in the UK radio industry. I like Adrian Childs. He's a very good broadcaster, very personable, very real, very honest, not offensive at all, really nice guy. I'm sure I've probably been in the same room as Adrian on many occasions because I used to go to radio functions and all that sort of stuff. So quite like listening to Adrian Childs. Let's get that out there. In fact, funny story, occasionally UK radio stations will ask me to come on as an expert. If they're talking about alcohol, occasionally they'll get me on as a guest. And there's a radio station in Birmingham where Adrian's from called Radio WM. And they said, can you come on the breakfast show and talk about alcohol? This is about 2 years ago now. I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to have to get up at 5 in the morning for the time difference, but it's not a problem. So I got up at 5 in the morning. I was on hold waiting to go on the radio, and it didn't happen. And the producer came on the phone. He said, oh, look, I'm really sorry about this. We've managed to get Adrian Childs. We don't need you. I was like, all right, thanks. I'll go back to bed. So I've been stood up because of Adrian Childs in the past. Let me see if I can share my screen with you here. Let's have a look at Adrian's book. How do I do that? Let me just find it for you. Wait one moment. Here we go. So this is the book that Adam is talking about, The Good Drinker: How I Learned to Love Drinking Less, by Adrian Childs. Gets good ratings, 4.4. Pretty good. And basically, he talks in this about how he used to be a problem drinker and he's learned to cut back. So you might be getting excited at that thought. Is it possible? If he's done it, maybe I can do it. I haven't read the book. I might get round to reading it, but look, here's my thoughts on this, right? You know that old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. I think that book appeals to all problem drinkers, to all alcoholics, because isn't that the utopia? Isn't that what we ultimately wanted? Back at the peak of my drinking, that's exactly what I wanted. Even though alcohol was destroying my life, everything was going wrong in my life. My career, my finances, my marriage, my health, everything was going wrong. And it was so obviously being caused by alcohol. And yet, despite that, I still didn't want to lose alcohol out of my life. I wanted that utopia of being able to take a drink or leave a drink, to be able to open a bottle of wine and have one glass and put the bottle back in the fridge. To me, that was, it was like dark magic. That's what I wanted to do. And I spent 5 years of my life trying so hard to do that. I mean, the most dangerous, most stupid, most ridiculous things to try and achieve this utopia of take or leave a drink. And I talk about it in the course. One of the stupidest things I did was to buy a bank level time delay safe. It cost £1,000 or something like that. So big it had to be delivered on the back of a flatbed truck. I had a bank vault in my house with a time delay on it. And I put my alcohol inside it and set it to open at 6 o'clock every day when I got home from work for a 5-minute window. So I could pour a drink. And while my resolve was still good, close that safe door and scramble the safe. And I would drink that one glass and my God, I wanted to open that safe, but I couldn't. And I think for about 2 weeks, I was a genius. I was I'm like the smartest guy alive. I can't believe I've fixed the problem. I'm no longer drinking heavily. I'm drinking one glass a night. I'm a genius. Until the one night I didn't get home in time to open the safe, and I felt completely cheated. I thought, this is not fair. I've been robbed. I've been robbed of my nightly drink by circumstance. It's not my fault. It's not fair. And I went to the liquor store and I bought a bottle of whiskey. And in that moment, I became the stupidest man on planet Earth. Not a genius, an idiot. So I tried everything to control my drinking, to reach that utopia of moderation. And I failed hundreds, thousands of times over 5 years. And I like to think that I'm a reasonably intelligent man. I couldn't do it. It made me miserable. And it was hell on earth. So bearing in mind of what I've been through and what I've seen other people go through in 14 years of doing this, nearly 14 years now, when I see this statement that you can learn to drink less, you can drink in moderation, I kind of dismiss it without even reading it as too good to be true, because it just doesn't make sense to me. To me, it sounds like how to go swimming without getting wet. That's how I hear it. It's like, yeah, that would be good, but what's the point in thinking about it? It's impossible. Now, where I think, all these books and all these approaches will all have their niche. They will all super serve a certain subsection of society. And there are lots of people out there who've just got into a bad habit. They kind of sleepwalked into drinking too much. They have a few drinks at work. They've had a few bottles of wine on an evening, and before they know it, they're drinking quite a heavy amount. And books like this, delivered by someone as nice and as affable as Adrian, can sometimes be a slap about the face for these people, and they go, "Hey, yeah, I need to put the brakes on this." And for those people, it's probably great. But I think the problem here is, to the people who I deal with, to the people that I help on my website, it almost feels like it's offering false hope. Like it's waving a carrot that you're never going to get to. You remember Bugs Bunny cartoons where they'd have the carrot on the stick and he'd run ahead trying to get to the carrot, but he'd never get there because the stick moves with him. That's what it feels like. It feels like false hope, because it breaks a kind of fundamental law. And that law is the problem drinker the alcoholic fundamentally can't drink responsibly. That's why alcohol companies are perfectly comfortable putting warning signs on the back of their brands saying drink responsibly, because they know it doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. Nobody in history with a drinking problem has looked at a bottle and gone, drink responsibly. Oh, okay. I'll start doing that now. It's bullshit. That warning on the back of the bottle of wine that says drink responsibly is bullshit, because the alcohol companies know that their hooked customers, their cash cows, their problem drinkers can't drink responsibly. So, look, I can lie to you if you want. I can sell you a course. I can say, come to my website, sign up, pay me some money, and I'll teach you how to drink responsibly, how to drink in moderation. And I can give you all sorts of good advice. And you're probably going to spend 1, 2, 3, 5 years following that advice, slowly realizing that I'm talking out of my arse. Slowly realizing that this struggle is just not worth it. Yeah, you're drinking less, but it sucks. When you're not drinking, you're thinking about drinking. When you're drinking, it's over too quickly. It's still dominating your life. You may be drinking less alcohol, but it's still an unnatural presence in your life that is causing damage. Because let me tell you, when you're if you're trying to moderate your drinking, if you're saying, I'll only drink on every other day, then on the days when you can drink, you're happy. On the days when you can't drink, you're not happy. You're not present with your family. You're not present with your husband or wife, because all you're thinking about is, I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm going to have a good drink. Yeah. What shall I have? I'll have whiskey. I think, no, I'm going to go vodka. On the days when you are drinking, you're not a good parent. You're not a good friend. You're not a good partner. You're not a good worker, because all that's on your mind is today's the day. Today's the day I get to drink. Yay. Alcohol, if you're successful in moderating your drinking as a problem drinker, all you're doing is you're kind of throwing a glass of water on a big house fire. You're not really making any difference. You're not really solving the problem. And at the end of the day, the house is still going to burn down. You've just found a way to slow it down a little bit. So, look, this is very unfair of me, because I've not read Adrian's book. I will try and read it. If I believed it was possible for problem drinkers like me and you to drink in moderation, I would read it. I would have bought it already. I would have read it 10 times over. But I'm sorry, I've got a lot of experience in this area, and I just do not believe it's possible for people like me or you or anyone that's past the event horizon of problem drinking. Because once you pass that point, there is no way back. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Because a life without alcohol completely is so much better than that hell of saying, what day is it? Oh, shit, I can't drink today. That's awful. It's a nightmare. And I wouldn't encourage anyone to even try it, because it's awful. I wouldn't wish that on you. Look, there's something else I want to talk about, and it's got nothing to do with Adrian Charles. I'm sure Adrian is in control of his drinking, and he's true to his word, and everything is hunky-dory. But look, there are a lot of people out there that lie, especially around drug use. I mean, all of us lie, all of us drinkers lie. So much so that when a doctor asks you how much you drink, they generally double what you say. So if you say, I only drink a couple of glasses of wine a night, they go, okay, bottle of wine a night. They know that we all lie. So, they take it into consideration. And you bump into people along the way that say, oh, I used to have a problem with alcohol, but now I can take or leave it. Bullshit. Bullshit. The fact that you're still talking about it says that's not true. And this is not just about alcohol. This is about other drugs as well. A friend of mine claims to have given up cigarettes 10 years ago, quit smoking 10 years ago, except when he's with his family. He says that when he's with his family, he has to smoke because it's so stressful. But at all other times, he doesn't smoke cigarettes. I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe that anyone is so in control of a drug that they can keep it in that tight little box and say, I'm only going to use this highly addictive substance in this very specific circumstance. Someone said to me, Craig, I only ever drink on Tuesday. Never, ever, ever, ever do I drink on any other day. I would say bullshit. Because it is the illusion of control that gets us into the quicksand. It is the illusion that we tell ourselves repeatedly, hey, I can stop anytime I want. That's the problem, because you think you're in control and you're not. That little evil clown is in your head pulling your strings. So, first of all, be careful what you listen to out there. Remember the adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Thirdly, if you're still thinking about drinking in moderation, just ask yourself a question. Is there any real logical advantage in drinking smaller amounts of poison? It doesn't make any sense, does it? If you came to me, and we're not talking about alcohol, and you said, Craig, I feel terrible. I feel terrible. And I said to you, oh, okay, tell me, what are you doing? And you say, well, every day I drink poison. I would not say to you, hey, how about trying drinking less poison? I would say to you, stop drinking the poison immediately. Stop that shit. Stop doing that, and you'll feel better. There's no logic in drinking less poison. Just makes no sense. Thank you so much. Don't forget, you won't fix this problem unless you take action. I can show you what to do. I can help you. But the one thing I cannot do is pull the trigger. I cannot take that first step for you. You have to do that. And the first step is to join my free Quit Drinking webinar at stopdrinkingexpert.com. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, see you in there. Worried about your drinking? Reserve your place on today's free Quit Drinking webinar and get a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for turning up. www.stopdrinkingexpert.com.